Hello everybody and welcome to the Band Rants channel, and this is going to be my part 2 of the earlier video where I analyzed the quarterbacks that are making the right decisions for 2022. Now I'm going to be talking about the ones that are making the wrong decisions. And I'm also going to cover the recent Matt Ryan trade because it just happened today. And you might not see it in the caption, but if you're watching the video, I'll try to throw it in the description, but you will hear me talk about Matt Ryan and how that went, whether it's right or wrong, because I've already released the right. So anyway, we're going to talk about the quarterbacks that are making the wrong decisions and Matt Ryan. Now, whether that is right or wrong, we'll come to that when we get there. But if you guys enjoy this video, please make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We are almost to 100 subscribers, trying to grow the channel. And with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and start. So let's address what people are saying is the biggest trade. I disagree. It's a trade that was inevitable, and honestly, it was a big disappointment. The Deshaun Watson trade. We knew this was coming. We knew that Deshaun Watson wanted to go somewhere else, but he also had a no-trade clause. But I really don't think any quarterback would waive a no-trade clause and be like, I want to play for Cleveland. And unfortunately, I was wrong about that because that's what Deshaun Watson wants to do. Now, the Browns are not wrong for this. This is actually probably Jimmy Haslam making a great decision and going after a top-tier quarterback. That's good on their end. I totally agree that Deshaun Watson is a massive upgrade from Baker Mayfield. I will not deny that. But what is wrong here is Deshaun Watson making the wrong choice. First off, you're going to the AFC North, which in my opinion is a tough division. You're probably not going to win it. Analysts are already saying, and Sportsbook are already saying, oh, the Browns are the favorites to win the AFC North and probably be a Super Bowl contender. Give me a break. Give me a break. As excited as I am for, let's say Russell Wilson, for example, going to Denver, it's not the same thing. When you compare apples to apples, you have to actually compare apples to apples. I mean, they're both in the AFC. But in my opinion, the Broncos are more structurally sound than the Cleveland Browns. I mean, look. Outside of Myles Garrett, who on their defense scares you? You can make arguments for certain people, but, I mean, that's not necessarily an amazing defense. Is it horrible? No. Their offense, the running game, I will say, in Cleveland and Denver to a certain extent, is very good. So Deshaun Watson does have that same security blanket that he didn't have in Houston that he has now with Cleveland. I'll give him that. And Amari Cooper, okay, he's a pretty solid receiver, but outside of that, there's not a lot there. Now, if this was the Cleveland Browns offense from last year, even though it wouldn't include Amari Cooper, I'd be more inclined to say that, well, maybe the Browns could make it interesting. But you have to think, no more Austin Hooper, no more Odell Beckham, no more Jarvis Landry. And to me, those are massive losses. I mean, you can only do so much with a talented run game in one player. I don't want to hear about Njoku. He's overrated. Terrible, no, but overrated, yes. But then again, it doesn't come as a surprise from Cleveland. And Deshaun Watson could have went to the NFC. You had 3 NFC teams, all in the NFC South, that had an interest in Deshaun Watson. Now, maybe the Falcons were more of a long-term option. Maybe that wasn't the best idea. I can understand that. And maybe the Panthers, maybe you don't like Matt Rule, whatever. But the Saints, honestly, are a good team. The Saints, in my opinion, have a better roster than Cleveland. They have a more playoff-ready roster for more reasons than one. And they've been doing it for a while longer. They've been a more relevant team than Cleveland. And more importantly, the Saints have Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. So you're not going there with nothing there. And the Saints are actually going to have a pretty decent draft pick this year, if I remember correctly. So you're basically going to alienate an almost guaranteed playoff berth. Now, I'm not saying that if he went to the Saints or Panthers or wherever in the NFC South, I'm not saying that he'd win the division, that he'd sweep Goatman and be better than him. No, I'm not making that kind of argument. That's an irrelevant argument that wouldn't even hold true. But what I am saying is that the wild card race in the NFC, outside of the second place recipient of San Francisco and the Rams, who would make it? I mean, Philadelphia was a last-place team that surprised a lot of people. Arizona was a team that won the offseason, and there's no guarantee that that same success would carry over this into 2022. So even then, you'd have almost a guaranteed playoff spot. You wouldn't win the division unless something really bad happened in Tampa, but the fact is you'd have more opportunities in the NFC. And, by the way, when Goatman retires, you'd control your own destiny in the NFC South. There's no other quarterbacks, especially now with what happened today, that would even pose any threat. Now, that's the second half of this video, which I'm going to go over in a minute. But let's address Baker Mayfield. Because Baker Mayfield has been cited as saying, I felt disrespected by the Cleveland trade. And he's right to feel that way. But he's right for the wrong reasons. Now, the wrong reasons, of course, are Baker Mayfield, and I don't care who hears this, has never lived up to that potential of a number one pick. He's never lived up to it. Has he been better than other quarterbacks in that class, like Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold to an extent? Yeah, okay, fine. But is he better than Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen? No. And for anyone that thinks I'm anti-Cleveland Browns despite this rant, let me just clarify that I was almost 100% correct on what Cleveland would do last year. People said the same thing last year. Oh, Cleveland's going to be a playoff team. They're going to win the AFC North. And I said no. I said they were probably going to be in third or fourth place in the AFC North. I said they were going to miss the playoffs last year. I said they'd finish off 8-9, and that's what they ended up finishing up with. Now, I think that we're probably going to see the same fate once again, because here's the thing. Baker Mayfield is worse than Deshaun Watson. But Baker Mayfield, where he should go, I think he should not make the same mistake Deshaun Watson made and go to the NFC. Now, that's probably going to be a lot easier because we just found out today that Matt Ryan, he's going to the Indianapolis Colts. The Falcons traded him. Now, this might be a move that is right, and I'm not trying to be a hypocrite because of the AFC. But the AFC South, now if Deshaun Watson went to the Colts, which would never happen, the Texans would never trade him within their division, I understand that. But that would have been better. Nothing against Cleveland, but their division is easier. I mean, Jacksonville's in a rebuild, Houston's in a complete rebuild, and Tennessee is not going to stay relevant forever. And the Colts are a team that actually performed well despite a lot of uncertainty at quarterback. Now, Matt Ryan is a wonderful security blanket. So I think that is a good decision for him because Matt Ryan could win the division. But the problem is it's division or bust because I don't see the Colts as a wild card contender unless other contenders seriously drop the ball. Now, if Baker Mayfield was to go to Seattle or he was to go to, like, let's say, I think Carolina has interest. Maybe he does go to New Orleans. Maybe that happens. Maybe he does end up going to Atlanta. I would be very surprised by that. But either way, Baker would be making the right decision. But the reason that I'm putting him in the wrong video is because he's wrong about what he brings to the table. Now, maybe that's Cleveland's fault. Maybe it's not. But right now, whatever people think of you, that's what you've earned. You need to deal with it. Stop crying about it. Stop whining about it. Go somewhere else and show Cleveland, hell with you guys. I'm going to show you what I can do because you haven't done it yet. And I don't want to hear about their one playoff berth. Their schedule was extremely easy and they didn't repeat even the same amount of success last year. But that's really all I've got for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and I'll see you in the next one.